I know we just finished the brakes, put everything back together, did a quick little test drive, make sure everything's good. Next thing we need to do is there is a smell going into the car. It smells like burnt oil or something. We think it could be after I remove the intake plenum, the gasket may have gotten jacked up. So we got some new gaskets for that, but we also want to check the valve cover after we take all this off and just make sure there's no oil leaking out, and that's the issue. So I'm going to quickly just take this off, look at a few things, and see if that's what we're looking at. Here's the part number I'm using, so you guys know. Just a quick little inspection. I'll take you guys with me. Got some stuff in here. Looks like some plastic from this wire here, the loom, the plastic wire loom. Just getting brittle, cracking, dropping down. I'll vacuum that out. I just see dirt here, and then down here, I don't really see any oil leaking off the valve cover. So I'll continue looking this up. I'm gonna take off this plenum here because I'm only looking at the one valve cover, but I need to look at that one too. I do see some blackening over there, but don't see any fresh oil. So hopefully when we take this intake off, we'll have a more idea what's going on. Now that I got the intake off, let's take a quick look in here. It's pretty standard. But what I'm seeing here is I see some oil build up there. And on this back side, I definitely see some wet oil on the back nub back there. So I can get you in there to see it better. Okay. And I ran my finger around the outside of this valve cover gasket, and I did feel some wetness around it. So I think this back valve cover gasket is the problem. Now the good thing is with me taking out just those pieces right there, I should be able to take this off and replace it. Let me call Jimmy, old Jimbo, and see if that's what he wants to do. It just looks pretty simple, like it's just a valve cover. Let's take a quick look on this side too. I can't really see much over here on the camera, but this side's pretty clear. So kind of here's my finger. See, wet oil on the other side there. That's probably what's causing our problem and smell. So let's give him a call and see what he says, if he wants to get that gasket or not. I just got done talking to Jimmy. So he said go ahead and start removing it. I am only going to remove this one over here, the backside one, as the front one's okay. And of course, when you're doing stuff like this, make sure you cover your intake hole. You don't need nastiness going in your motor. So first thing I did was put a rag in here before doing anything else. And yeah, so these little weird little clip thingies, so I can find a way to put this. These little things kind of just plunge onto these, and they're like studs. So what you'll do is I just pulled up on them to kind of get them out of the way, and we're good there. And I don't know if the backside has the same thing. It'll be interesting to get these off, but anywho, this is better than the BMW where you have to replace the whole valve cover. These are metal, so it shouldn't be an issue. So I'm gonna take all of the coil packs I just put in and pull this thing out. Shouldn't be too hard. All right, let's start with these bolts right here. Take out the coil packs and then work on the backside. You know, hardest part last. This is what you're gonna need to do the valve cover gasket and plugs. So you'll need various picks to get clips off, a stubby flathead, some wrenches. You only need really 3 sockets. One for the spark plug, which is a 5/8, a 10mm, and an 8mm. So I use this pry tool to pry off the valve cover gasket. You'll need a magnet to get the socket or the spark plugs out, and a torque wrench, and if you have power tools, good, and somewhere to put your bolts when you take them off. Brake cleaner to clean off your surfaces and things like that. It works really well, but this is really all you need for the valve cover gasket and your spark plugs. Let's get started on the project. Okay, went ahead and removed the coil packs. They're right here. Unplugged them. Real simple process. I got these bolts already undone. Apparently they're bolts with like a little stud thing on top. It's kind of funky. I did not know that. Again, I kind of just dive into this kind of stuff without not knowing much about it. All cars are similar, so yeah, learn as we go. All right, now they hit up the bolts on the back side of this, which are going to be a little bit difficult to reach, but I'll hit those up right now. Okay. Now that I got that off, I gotta do some cleaning around the edges, make sure I get all the oil off there, so any residual smell is from the last bit of it. And then we got to transfer the new seals to this. So I'll do those one at a time. The seals around the screws, there are seals around here, and there's the new gasket right there. So I'm gonna start working on that now. Do yourself a favor when you're switching out these boots, cut the old ones off. Cut it right in the center after you pull out of here. If you have trouble pulling out of here, just use some pliers, just pull them out, and you're good. But these slide on pretty easy. Taking these off without cutting them is a pain in the butt. Just replace them, cut them out. Okay, I got those all replaced. Now I need to take these out, and I'm going to spray this off and clean it. I took these little center things out. They're actually real easy to get out. I used a screwdriver and I put it right on the edge of this thing right here, and I pushed it out without hitting the lip. So you see there's no marking on the lip here on any of these. So what you're trying to do is not scratch the lip of that, otherwise it'll have issues. So I did it on all 4 of these, and then I'm about to press them in. I'll tell you how I do that here in a second. But yeah, I just took a screwdriver, put it on the lip only, and tapped it with a little hammer. So that's how I got that out. Now these, the open end goes at the top, so, and this round part will be at the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll put this in here from the top. It slides in easy here. Then you got to tap them down, okay, to the bottom. So I'll be doing that now. To get these in here, just putting this in here, find something to press it down with. I don't have a press, but I have this little brake kit that has this piece that is perfect. I'm putting this right in the middle. It doesn't hit the sides or anything. I'm tapping it down with a hammer. And that seems to work really well. So it's putting it in here. So I'm gonna finish doing the rest of these. Okay, I'll finish the rest. Okay, got those in there. Now we need to go ahead and put the right one on it. So, wait, let's clean this off first before we put that on. Okay, so I used the other gasket to figure out which gasket goes on this. They are different from each other. So I just used the black one to kind of figure out which one it was. This one's slightly different, as expected with newer cars. So this thing is in there, and this little thing indicates what side it's on. This is facing out, this little flat piece. So that'll go on the base of the motor. Now it's time to clean the base of the motor to make sure we don't get any contaminants in there. So I'll clean off around there. I did the light cleaning on this side to make sure nothing fell in, but I had some fall in. It's just nature of the beast, dropping shit. So, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off this area with a rag and some brake cleaner. And I'll get that thing put back in. Okay, went ahead and cleaned off all the surfaces. So we have a clean mating surface. So you can see here, it's not oily anymore. It's clean with brake fluid. I used a clean rag, I had several of them. So I got around the whole side. I even cleaned off where the oil was leaking on that heat shield back there. Went ahead and cleaned that off the best I could, obviously being that it's way back there. But it's now time to start putting that thing back together. Now the key thing about putting it back together is making sure no wires are underneath it, and you got a clean mating surface for it to sit down on. So the biggest problem is you put this down, and let's say you have a cord or something in between this and the mating surface, you're gonna leak oil. So anyway, let's go ahead and fit this in there. I'll leave this running so you guys can watch the process. It's not easy. It's going to be a lot of twisting and turning to get it in there. And then we'll just zip down the screws. And then I'll tell you the torque spec here in a second.
You know, that will be a hard decision.
Yeah, it is.
You know, like with my dog. It was a hard decision. She wasn't vicious, but it was still hard. Very
Yeah.
hard.
I'm going to see what it's doing now.
Oh, at least it's got a little peg that goes into it, doesn't it? Is that what that is on that side?
I think it's good.
You just changing the back one, or you changing the front one too?
No, just the back one. All right, quick little update. I have everything torqued down, 7.5 foot-pounds of torque. Use a torque wrench for that. I'm just going through and plugging everything back in. And while I was in here, spark plugs. So I'm gonna replace all the spark plugs in here and then put those back in there and put it all back together. So I will be right back. Okay, now we gotta change out these gaskets since we bought them. You pull them out of there. Oh, your trusty pick tool. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off and put it in the car. Okay, just a few little button-up items. A few little button-up items. These clip here. Okay. Okay, now we just gotta start her up, see how she sounds. Alright, these are spark plugs I took out of there. They're definitely needed to be replaced. You can tell the ends on them. Alright, I did forget to plug in a few of the items underneath the hood. Vacuum? Is the key still in here? Yeah. So, it like started and died on me. And I didn't plug in the throttle body all the way. Now it runs like a champ. So, we'll clear the codes. All right, so bonus footage of fixing the MKX. So I broke two things. May have caught it on camera, maybe not. I don't know. So we're gonna be replacing those two things before giving the car back. One of the injector plugs clips broke. Let me just show you what it looks like. So this injector clip right here has a push tab right here. Well, these get brittle and break off sometimes, hence the reason why they sell them. So his broke off on one, and actually it's injector 6. It broke off. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace it, solder these ends on and all that good stuff, and I'll take you along for the process. And I also broke that. Put in the comments what you think it is, and then I'll tell you what it is later. Anyway, of course, I put all this back on just so I could drive it for a day or two, but I just don't want the clip popping off. Like, it's pushed on there nicely, but it's not firmly clipped in there. You know how this stuff works. Could be a month, 2 months from now on. This thing starts running like crap. You forget all about that. And yeah, I just need to fix it. My conscience won't let me let it go out the door without fixing it. So that's what we'll be doing for this bonus footage. So I'll be undoing this intake again, lifting it up, kind of sliding it back, and then getting to the wiring harness, cut off the old one, put the new one on. All right. So we are going to cut these off right at the base. Okay. We're going to strip these back, and we're going to cut these down a little bit and solder them in. Okay, cut this down to this size. Now we got to make sure we don't mix up the colors. So blue is going to go into red, and purple is going into black. Okay. So we're going to put them in like that. Boom. Connect them. Solder them in. So we got those in there. We're going to go ahead and heat those up. Solder them in. And then we'll do the next one. Okay. That's kind of what it looks like after it's all done soldering. It's tight connection. It's ready to do for the next one. All right, let's do the next one. Okay, and just like that, these are permanently on there. And they got a watertight seal. And all we have to do is plug it in here. It clips in there, and we're good. All right. Quick, simple fix job. Next thing you know, we gotta take this plastic thing out of here, replace it with a new one. I'll show you that in a couple seconds. All right, with this thing had been broken off, let's see if this glue job worked. And here's a replacement part. I'll put it in the description as well. All right. Well, I would say that was not a success. So I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a small screw, kind of drill it in here, and see if that works. That way I have something to bite into and kind of pull up. So we can find a small screw and see if that works. All right, so I think this is too thick. That might be too coarse. Well, these might be right. This one won't work. I'll probably try this one or this one. This is long enough to kind of get some good pulling from, but let's try it out. You know, in other cars you can kind of take out the dipstick. You know, if I have to remove this valve cover, it's probably not the end of the world. I do see some leaking on it. Oh, yeah. There we go. No matter what part or number you do buy, you always want to verify it's the same distance. And it is. You know what? I think we got to do this front valve cover. I don't know how I missed that. There's a lot of oil coming out. Let's get a close up on it. There's all that oil right there. It's probably the lighting in my garage. And it's leaking out on that heat plate right there. Yeah, so I didn't expect to do this today. But let's just get it done. But I did replace that. Okay, that's good. Broken one can be thrown away. Again, I just put a screw in the end of it and pulled it out. And all the particulates stayed up top, so it came right out. Alright, let's take that valve cover off. Let's get that done. Okay, so this is pretty easy. I'm gonna take all this valve cover off here, and looks like I need to take this clip off too. And we should be good. So I'm gonna start with this, so on and so forth. Did brake cleaner all over this whole thing, cleaned it all up. Now we gotta get these things out. The best way to do that is stick a screwdriver on it. Make sure you're only touching the ring. Make sure you're only touching the ring, not the metal. And what you're going for is to bend this in. These actually look pretty good. Look like they're newer, actually. Actually, these are newer. They're brand new. Actually, yeah, I remember replacing those. Okay. Okay. We're only going to replace this one. This one has not been replaced. So I'm going to use this technique right here, bend this in, and then replace just this one. These three are fine.
What you beating on?
Baiting this. Okay. That's out.
Come with a new?
Oh yeah. Pressing the new one.
Look, it's still stiff.
This is still good. Yeah. I was about to replace these ones, but these are brand new. Look at them.
They still feel good.
Oh yeah, these are good. I'm not replacing those. I replaced them last time when I changed the spark plugs. So, well, if you're asking about this kit, this thing, these are for brakes. It's a brake kit. This is not intended for this, but this is the only thing I have round enough to fit it perfectly. So, That's flush. And that's flush in here. Perfect. So let's move this out of the way. Now the trick to doing these, I mentioned this earlier, is simple.
Oh, you just cut the old ones off.
We'll cut the old ones off. Do not cut yourself. Razor knife works perfect. They cut through it like butter. If I can grab it, that comes right off. New one goes on just like this. Work one corner at a time. Goes over the lip, push it down. Super simple. I'm gonna do this to the rest of them. You're good. Now, when doing this gasket, you'll notice that there's these flaps here. Well, these are on the outside. So that's one way to kind of determine where these things go. And this goes like this. Because there's a square side, which is the back end right here. Kind of goes all around. You see the square here. Oh, and this little tab here helps too. Okay. Notice that I did clean this thing. It's ready to go back in the car. So we'll kind of just set this in the car, get it all situated, make sure that the gasket didn't move at all. Now you could use some gasket sealer or gasket stuff. You can put it in here. It'll help this stick. Now this is a pretty good fit, so I'm not going to do that method. So let's go back to the car. Now if you have another set of hands, it really helps because one of us is going to move the wires out of the way while the other slides this into place. Now we did clean the whole mating surface here around the whole thing, so we don't have anything getting in the way.
These don't move, so.
Am I hitting there?
There we go.
There you go.
Like a glove.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure there's no big gaps around the sides. Make sure there's no wires in the way. This thing looks good. Okay. Now, we can start putting those screws back in. Start this bad boy up. All right. Well, this concludes the fixing of Jimmy's Lincoln.
The final fixing.
We're gonna drive this around, clear this all up. Probably go pick up my truck, and then this thing is this is a wrap, right, Mike?
It's a wrap.
Okay, so what did we do here? We did brakes, we did valve covers, we did replacing the injector,
pads.
rotors pad. We did everything. So this is a course of like 4 days. I may be splitting this into part 1 and part 2. You'll know by the time I release it, depending on how long the video is. Anyway, thanks for joining, guys. Until next time, I'll see you then.